Bert, 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 Bert! Get him, yeah! Ron Babe was right. Ron Babe was right.
I'm feeling spry. I know what you're thinking. I know exactly what you're thinking. It's the 10th. It's a Thursday. There's a Zoom room tonight for my Patreon patrons. Okay, we'll have that from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock Eastern. There's that. But did any of you, come on, how many of you heard me on the Meat Eater trivia game? Okay. I choked. I choked on Larry Potterfield, and I choked on Cutthroat Trout. I could have been a winner. I could have won that thing. But I'll tell you what I wouldn't have got right was the last question was how many legal duck days are there by law? And I was in the 60s. I don't know what I was thinking. So anybody who saw me on there, sorry I let you down. Oh, it was so close. In the beginning, it was me and Brody tied. But enough with all that stuff. My title sponsor, OnX, they did not navigate me to Bozeman. The airline did. But I actually used it when I was there to go visit a NAVDA test that was going on. Saw some old friends out there. It never stops. It's like the gift that never stops giving. As long as it's on your phone, you can do anything. Now, here's an announcement. Okay, this is, well, let's just say it kind of has a rhyme to it. Welcome back, Jack. Now, who puts that together? Before I go any further, who put Welcome Back, Jack together? Jack Butler, Gumleaf USA. That's right. I think the CDC said COVID was over a year ago, but supply chain, boot production, all kinds of things in Europe, they were so mushed up. But Jack is back. Gumleaf USA has the boot lineup. They got their shipments in. This is no time to hesitate. You're going to need a pair, especially if you're a grouse hunter, whatever you do. If you don't want wet feet in the morning, especially, I don't care where you are. I wear them every time I'm judging dogs all morning long till that grass dries out. Check out Gumleaf USA, and while you're there, we might have a Jaeger lead or two left. I have to check with Jack. Now, if you don't know what that is, well, then you're brand new, and let's just concentrate on the boots, okay? And then once you get your boots, you can go back and say, what color boots do I want to go with my Pike gear? Now, the green kind of complements the green, but the brown kind of goes with everything. It's up to you. But check out Pike Gear's lineup. In fact, you are going to, this weekend, we'll have a podcast that I just recorded with Brent. We're going to go over our dogs and what's new and just a normal Brent and Ron, bullshit session. That's going to be coming out Sunday. But until then, go to Pike Gear and check out what they've got. I guess I could say it. No, it's going to come out Sunday. You'll hear all about it Sunday. There's more stuff. I love stuff. I love stuff like I love Boss shot shells. That's something that I just heard. Whose podcast was it? They're talking about lead, and granted, U.S. trap shooting teams and trap shooting clubs they need to mitigate what they're doing, but they're never going to go to bismuth, right? It's not going to happen. Too costly. But what's the cost of a wild game bird or a wild duck or a goose, right? What we put in our tank, what we put in ourselves, what we put into our dogs, shoot the best shotgun shell you can, okay? Shoot copper-plated bismuth by Boss shot shells, and you will not be sorry. You still got to hit them, but if you hit them, you'll kill them. That's just how it works. And once you kill them, you season them with Walton spices. Boy, was that a segue. That's the word I was looking for the other day, segue. I segued right into that. Walton spices, Walton's kitchen, Walton's everything, Walton's universe, Walton's. I don't care what you're doing with the meat. I don't care if you're going to, pepper it, freeze it, package it, vacuum it, grind it, stuff it, smoke it. You go and get the Walton's catalog, and you will not be sorry. No sorrier than you would ever be, with your gunner kennel. And I won't, you know what? I'm going to save 60 seconds off this intro because Addison Edmonds is on this podcast, and we're going to talk about some of the new stuff, the trajectory of the company, the trajectory of his hunting season, my hunting season, him and I finally going to get to go hunting season kind of thing. So you're going to hear all about that in just a few minutes as soon as I keep babbling on about things like Garmin. What do you put around your dog's neck? Garmin. Where do you buy your Garmin products from? W. That's all you need to know. Don't settle for the second best rated or the third best rated collar. Get something that's going to last, it's going to make you happy, and you're going to have no buyer's remorse. That's what's great about this stuff. If you buy a Garmin collar, I don't care if it's a 550 plus or all the way to 300i with the SOS button to save your ass if you fall down a mountain, you are not going to have buyer's remorse. And you'll never have buyer's remorse if you buy it through W Hunting Supply because they are literally a branch of Garmin. Well, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but they might as well be for as many Garmin collars and units as they sell. Number one dealer in the country, and there's a reason why. And you know what the reason is. Same reason. Yeah, you know what the reason is. Hey, my adventure for four-wheel campers is coming up. I am leaving the day after Labor Day. I'm heading to Sacramento to pick up my four-wheel camper. I'm going to be an off-the-grid, independent, don't need a motel, don't have to find out what the pet policy is. I am putting a four-wheel camper Model M on my Dodge pickup truck. Well, if I could only get Dodge, if I could get like West Michigan Dodge dealers, wouldn't that be great? Then this intro could be like another 30 seconds longer. Anyway, I've got some Mossbergs coming, okay? You know what I love about a Mossberg shotgun? The top tang safety. I'm left-handed, okay? I know only 10% of you are, so 90% of you are like, sorry, you're lost, Ron. Mossbergs have the top tang safety. Like all my break-open guns, the safety is on the top of the receiver. It's ambidextrous. It's literally a no-brainer. It's a great gun to start a kid out with. It's a great gun to finish a field of geese with. It's a great gun to go upland hunting with. And it's a great gun if you want to take on, a zombie apocalypse. Check out the Mossberg lineup. You're going to be seeing a lot more stuff from me and Mossberg. As long as you see, I messed that up. No, I did. Me and Mossberg, yeah. I'm trying to read a half of a script here, but it doesn't usually work well for me. My dogs eat Pro Plan. That's probably all I need to say, right? Why go on and on about it? I told you I went down to the St. Louis to the headquarters, and when you see what they do to make food, to try different formulas, to try different coatings, you'll know why you're getting the best dog food there is, because nobody else has a campus of development like Purina. They don't. On a small scale, I'm sure Wilderness Athlete, Canine Athlete does, but it's on a small scale compared to Purina. But if you want to give yourself and your dog, more importantly, that little extra boost, especially in the summertime with Hydrate and Recover, boy, I'm not going to hit the re-record button. Sorry, I'm coming over bronchitis. It's tough. Just tough. I apologize. You want to take care of your dog just a little more. You want to give him just that little extra, and you want to give yourself that little extra. I've been using, what is it called? It's right here on my desk. I always mess it up. Joint Advantage. I thought it was Advantage Joint, and that's why I'm always dyslexic a little bit. I use Joint Advantage by Wilderness Athlete, and my tricky-ass knee that the doc said needed to be replaced, yeah, it still needs to be replaced, but it's helping. I'm telling you what. That and jiu-jitsu. Of course, I'm not doing jiu-jitsu because I just had wrist surgery. But point being, some exercise, some joint advantage. Canine Athlete and Wilderness Athletes will give you that little something extra. You can't just go by the old pyramid food group anymore. We all like a little extra. If you want to get a little extra out of your dog, though, how do you get it out of your dog? You do it by training your dog, right? You do it by training your dog. Train your dog yourself. I know if you absolutely have no time in the world, you have to go to a trainer, go to one like Justin or many of the other ones out there that'll do a great job. But I'm going to tell you what, there's nothing like training your own dog because the dog learns. When you take him hunting, he gets it. You've been the teacher all summer, and I can only suggest one school to go to. And it's not Michigan State University or Michigan. It's the Upland Institute. That's where you go to teach your dog the fundamentals, the advanced, the trained retrieve. That's it. That's where you go. So how about that? Jack is back with Gumleaf USA, Gumleaf boots. Everybody else is lined up. I mean, what a day. And this episode with Addison was a lot of fun. I cannot wait to go hunting with this guy. I wish you could meet Addison. I mean, if you go to a trade show, you might. But when I first met him, I was like, "Oh my God, you are like me, with a lower grade point average in college because I didn't go to college. But I got a feeling we were like brothers of another mother." And his self-deprecating sense of humor before we hit record about running around the office and how the office you'll pick up on it. I did. And don't forget, the HDP store is always open. Go to the website. And don't forget, see? So you thought I was done. I'm not. But that's not bad. It's only 11 minutes. The YouTube channel. We are putting out content on YouTube. Go to the Hunting Dog Podcast YouTube channel. Now, you'll see what we did called Hunting HMF. So you can figure out what that is. I try not to swear too much on this thing. I think I said it last intro. HMFers, okay? Hunting Mother Effers, okay? We're going to do another episode this year with the same cast and crew, maybe a little bigger crew. My daughter might be out there and another friend of a friend. But we are going to record a lot of that trip like we did. We're going to put it out there on YouTube. But what this is for is to build a YouTube platform. So eventually Behind the Dog films episodes will go to YouTube after they're out for purchase for undetermined amount of time. We are heading up to Wisconsin to do another Behind a Dog thing. Matt and I are on the road with the cameras and the microphones. I can't wait to do that. And then we're going to be on the road to Boise. You know what we're going to be doing out there. Oh, this is such an adventure. So do me a favor. Go to YouTube, subscribe, and watch like the second episode of HMF should be up from last year's. And I'll tell you what, we set those cameras up in the front room, and we were trying to do it like a panel and run down the days. But there's some funny shit in there. I mean, there's just some funny shit in there. And as the episodes go along here, I think we chopped it up into five or six episodes. Yeah. Wait till you get toward the end where Rusty starts talking about Chickenfoot, his grandma's Indian name. What a hoot. Addison Edmonds, how the hell are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, it's been probably a year since I stopped down, and I think it's been over a year since I saw you, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like the engineering never stops. But where do you just sit up at night thinking like, what do I do next for Gunner Kennels? I say Gunner Kennels. I should probably just use the word Gunner, but
yeah. No, I mean, that's where I'm mostly involved is products, and we've got a roadmap out for a few years now. And then there's stuff past that I want to do that I couldn't even begin to think about right now in terms of like execution. So yeah, products is kind of my wheelhouse.
So they don't let you answer the phones or take care of the bills or anything.
No, they don't let me do much else.
Because I think everybody's known the story. We've talked for at least once a year on the podcast. How it was basically developing Gunner Kennels was like, I want this dog in something that's not a tin can waiting to be stepped on, right?
Yeah.
And obviously you knocked it out of the park with the kennels, and then comes things just like not too far along ago was the food crate. And
Right.
when I do my intros, sometimes your media company will send me a commercial to read, and I kind of look at it like you and go like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to tell you that it's bear proof. Okay. I think if if you put the latching pin in that food crate, I think a bear would get frustrated at it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you came out with the smaller food crate.
Yep. Which was like 100% customer response.
Oh, was
Everybody's,
it?
yeah. I mean, we didn't have any plans to do that. We had a lot of response saying, "Hey, I love this, but I want it a little bit smaller." And my concern from the start was that a whole bag of dog food would fit in there like easily. So I
Yeah.
wanted to make it bigger, but yeah. So the small one came out and it's doing good.
And that makes sense because if you go buy a 37-pound bag of dog food, which we all know I feed Purina, thank you very much, Purina. It fits perfectly in there with a little room to spare.
Yeah.
And I go through it pretty fast with 5 dogs. But yeah, for the guy who buys a smaller bag or on a small trip with one, you don't need to have that space. So did you cut it right in half? Was it basically cut right in half almost, Addison?
Not in half, but I mean, for the prototype, like I got my sawzall and cut it in half and like taped it together. And that was the first prototype.
You
Uh,
you sawed it in half. Okay. Well,
I saw a lot of things in half here, um, which is why I told you earlier. I think everybody would prefer that I kept a helmet on all the time. Uh,
just show up
I'll
for
tell
an
you
hour
what,
a day.
did you know that we've got a food scoop, like a dog food scoop, that, in my opinion, is the best out there? It's made in America. It's got different steps for 1, 2, and 3 cups for measuring.
Yep.
Uh, I love it. I don't know if we've talked about it much, but it's one of my favorite products. I also use it for like deer corn and ice, moving
Well,
ice from one chest to another. But yeah, it's pretty good.
they you guys sent me that scoop, and immediately because we both admittedly said we are like the uh in the dog world, we're both a little ADD. We both just kind of, you know,
Guilty.
guilty, right? We're just like, whatever. And the first thing I said was, there's no measurements on this thing. And of course, I don't look to see that it's graduated, you know. And I almost called you up and said, couldn't you put 1 cup, 2 cup, 3 cup?
You're like me. You get something, you put it
Yep.
together, and then you realize, well, shoot, I should have read the instructions
I
and
know. I know. And
part.
truth be told, I'm going to need another 1 or 2 of them because my wife, we got chickens this year, and my wife stole it for the chicken food.
Yep.
Yep. So, and then the stuff like the winter cover, I told you, I've got so much stuff in my barn. My large gunner for Bravo always stayed outside, and that thing has had like 3 full winters on it.
Yeah.
Other than it, in the sun it faded a little bit, but I mean it doesn't rip. It doesn't. What are you using? Is that like astronaut spacesuit or something, or what did you use for that?
That was an older material. It was actually spacesuit material, but for some reason it faded, and so we changed to a different material. It's the all weather kit 2.0, and it does not fade, and it just kind of has a. It actually it lasts a lot longer. We're able to do like UV testing to represent a year, 2 year, 5 years of sunlight. Because if you think about it, most of these kennels are in the back of trucks,
Oh yeah, yeah.
24/7. So
Yeah, the most common one is an open bed truck tied
yeah,
down for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. And then we got the cold weather door cover, which is a cover for the door that you can
Yeah.
take on and off pretty easily for really cold. And when I say really cold, I'm in the South, so 20
Right.
and below. Um, but it'll get up to like 60 in the afternoon, so I want to be able to remove it quickly and easily because most of our stuff it's kind of a pain to install because I want to make sure that it's like not ever going to fly off or go anywhere. So
Right. Right.
this got some really strong magnets and easy to take on and off.
Yeah, you guys sent me I say you guys because they keep you in the
Not
dark.
me. Yeah.
But in fact, in all disclosure, a few weeks ago, Addison wrote back to me, goes, who set this interview up? Nobody tells me anything. So,
I'd have
uh,
to look back on that email. I was like, "Hey, so what time are you thinking?" I was like, "What
right,
the hell are
right.
you talking about, Ron?"
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm willing. I'm willing.
Yeah,
But no,
yeah,
they sent me that cover, the door cover, and immediately again, I don't read instructions. I'm like, huh, well, that's kind of weird. So what does my monkey brain do? Go like, am I going to have to screw this into the door? You
yeah,
know? And of course, I had a buddy over here who I'll give Trent a plug. He bought his first two Gunner kennels before I ever met him. Right when they came out. And in fact, he was so glad you guys did I think it was a firm payment at the time. It might have been another brand.
yeah,
He's, he's like, man, it was easy. I slid that right past my wife. Just I
yeah,
put it on firm. And he saw that door and he just puts it up to the door we had at Pheasant Fest. He goes, it's a magnet, you dummy. I'm like, oh, my bad.
yeah. Yeah, it
Uh,
takes you install a couple pieces of hardware and then you're done where it can
yeah,
slide.
exactly.
Yeah,
You just switch out the plate. And yeah, that is really nice for cold weather. I mean, I'm gonna go into rabbit holes when we do this all the time, Addison. I learned years ago, I lost a dog for a night. It was 9 degrees outside. And I called my vet and I was like, he's gonna be dead, right? And she goes, no, he's not gonna be dead. I said, it's 9 degrees tonight. And she goes, he'll find a place to lay down. And if he's if he's not hit by a car or something, and sure enough, he went under an old roof of an old barn across the road, literally across the road from me. I followed his foot tracks in the morning. And I'm like, could he really be in there? I'm like, Bravo? He'd come walking out of there like, what? you know, but when you're on the road, there's a thing called wind chill, right?
yeah,
And I know people that I think over insulate their dog. Dogs create a lot of heat when they're in there, but that's
yeah.
just right you still got the ventilation and you just get that main source of cold air draft knocked out. Yeah, I like that.
That's what I'm afraid of sometimes is like, I see people around here that have a other kennel and other cover in the
Right.
summer. They'll, zip the windows down over the door, and it's like, yeah, I get that, but I mean, I'm worried about. That's why we made it easily removable because I don't want to use that door cover unless it's below 30. Like
Right. There's
there's
just no reason to it. Right.
cover, it's staying plenty warm in there,
Yeah.
especially if you're on your way to hunt. Like I don't know, probably some more thoughts behind that, but yeah, I only use that door cover when it's very cold, and in the south it just doesn't get
Yeah.
too cold.
Yeah. But up here too, we use our even the short hairs, they get out in the wintertime to get all full of snow. They're literally soaking wet just from running in light snow.
Yeah,
That would be a time I would slap that cover on while they're drying off and then just pop it off of there.
yeah.
Was that another Addison idea, or can you give that credit to somebody else at the company?
We worked on that. I mean, that came from customers' request for so long that I was like, I guess it does get below 15s in other parts of the country, and so we developed it. Our first iteration was really hard to take off, and I was hunting in Kansas with Gunner, and I put it on, and then in the afternoon it got 50 degrees, and I tried to take it off, and so I was involved in it. I don't remember if it was my idea or not, but that was one that I was passionate about. There's a couple things that I was or passionate about, but yeah, the bumper was one of my projects that I'm very passionate about.
When I saw you were coming out with bumpers, I was like, "Well, that's great. You're either gonna knock the rest of the bumper because everybody goes through bumpers because dogs, you lose them, dogs eat them, whatever. But that's kind of on us. But if they last, if the life, I don't know what's the warranty on the bumper because everything else you have is guaranteed for life.
Yeah, the kennels. I think we right now say like our keystone products, which is the kennels and the food crates,
Great.
our lifetime, and then everything else. We don't have an official policy. I just tell our customer service do the right thing.
Right.
Uh, if you have to replace it, great. Like if it's a manufacturer defect, obviously replace it. But
Right.
we're coming out with kind of a more standardized guarantee. But yeah, I mean, you know, I try to think of it as if I was a customer. These bumpers are much more durable than other bumpers,
Yeah.
but you can still have a dog that can tear it up if you let
Sure.
him play or play
Oh,
tug
yeah.
of war. And so, that's one of the things. Like, if your dog tears it up, I as a customer wouldn't call and be like, "Hey, my dog tore this up. Give me a new one." Um,
It's like
but
going to the vet and saying, "My dog ate my sock," you know?
yeah,
"Can you take it out for free? Because I never
right,
intended for him to eat a sock."
right,
Yeah.
yeah. So it is. That was kind of the point, was make it more durable, make the rope even more durable, but also replaceable or removable, which I think is a big feature. I mean, I couldn't tell you the top three features on the bumper. Like, and my marketing team gets very frustrated with me about this, because I think that all of the features are equally important to make it the best bumper out there, which is something that I've been working on since 2014. Um,
You've had
not
that thought? You've had that thought in your head?
Yeah, like, I've got this goal board I used to keep in my house. It's got 35 goals when I started the company in 2015, and goal number 6 is man's best bumper. And I was a little bit busy the first few years with troubleshooting the kennel and trying to do customer service and accounting and marketing and everything else. Um, but yeah, we started working on it a couple years ago, and it was one of the best from start to finish projects we've done, in terms of, like, the design came together well quickly. The manufacturers are awesome and great to work with. And so, I mean, I texted the manufacturer like 4 weeks before launch to see if we have a logo on the drain plug, or
Mhm.
not drain plug, just the plug that you
Right.
put that was glossy, and I wanted it matte, just to be, like, more in line with the rest of our standards or
Yeah.
brand or whatever. And yeah, they were super easy to work with, and it was a great project. It's something that I'm, like, really proud of. Probably, since the food crate, which was like my second idea from the kennels, and
Yeah.
now we're working full speed on a lot of other projects. We got some new stuff coming out that I'm excited about too.
It just seems like it. Well, I guess that's the only way you can do it. You gotta put that, like, 5-year plan together, right? Or whatever you wanna, however many year plan. Otherwise, you're like, "Oh, we only sell 1 rug," right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, that was the plan all along. It just um, there's a lot of distractions along the way, and um, yeah,
4
if
4
I had
baby, 4 children along the way.
that, I was thinking more of, like, business distractions, but
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that too. It all kind of inhibits. And um, now we're really focusing in on how fast can we get good products or great products to market,
Yeah.
which, I think 24 months is kind of the minimum, which stinks because we're working on a lot of cool stuff.
How so you said the idea was there a long time ago, but how long did, like, when you said, "Okay, we're gonna make a bumper," you gotta, like, the material, what was that like? How do you investigate materials for something that we would think is as simple as a bumper? Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, that was kind of tough. I mean, it was like a 2-year project, and I wanted the most durable, and so the most durable would be similar to, like, a Kong material, which has a lot of rubber in it, but that
right,
doesn't float. That doesn't float well. It floats like an iceberg, and so
right,
we have a proprietary blend that um, floats like over 50%, and you add foam to it, and so it comes down to the weight, like the feeling of the throw, and then it's all got to be uh, FDA approved materials. Like, if the dog was to ingest it,
never even
and so,
thought of that. Yeah.
yeah, it. There was a lot going into it, and we went back and forth on selecting that, like, exact material, and so I think we hit it just about right with this one. Um, yeah, material is just like with any product, like manufacturing process. If you want to make a anvil, you can rotomold it, injection mold it, fab it up, cast it. You can do a lot of different ways to manufacture, and it kind of comes down to what's going to hold up the best, what's going to not. absolutely annihilate us on tooling costs, which
Right.
rotom, a lot of it does with the to do things right. It's just going to take a lot of money to do it up
Yeah,
front.
I remember your story from the first kennel. You were like, basically mortgaged your life. Like, okay, I guess I need $250,000 for a dye mold,
Yeah,
you know.
and
Um,
then all the modifications. Yeah, we're underwater with that from the start, and I've raised I think 3 times more money than I thought I would need, and that went quick after the
yeah.
testing of the crash testing, and happened to do like we basically came up with that door frame, like an actual door frame integrated in, and just a lot of costs that you don't think about. Being like an eternal optimist and a terrible finance guy, that's no problem. Just
Just
make it.
just
I'll find the money, just make it. And
So I imagine there was versions of this bumper that were made out of different materials, right? And you're like,
yeah,
oh, no, yes, no, kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah. There's some, and like really, like I have to see things almost physically just to aesthetically just say yes or no. So we did a lot of 3D prints, tried
Mhm.
to like mimic as close as we could the actual material, which is hard with like a foam rubber. Um, but yeah, we had to go ahead and tool up to what we thought the min max like specs would work with the material that we thought would work, and we got it, and we're like, all right, no, change this 5%, blah blah blah, and still able to make it work. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. A lot of it's way above my pay grade, so we've got a great team that they're really good at what they do, and way smarter than me.
They
So
just they just keep working until Addison says, I like it,
yeah, and
right?
it's very annoying to get to that point, like extremely frustrating. I
Yeah.
could guess.
I was like, I wonder, like, I didn't even see a picture of that bumper, and I was like, what in the world could be, what could be different about a bumper? Like,
Yeah,
oh, about four things at least, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it is cool, and it does sit up on the water. Um, the and I know this is something I probably wouldn't do, but the fact that you can pull the cap off the end of it and you could insert some feathers, or if you're doing some fur, there's some dog people that do work with fur. You could insert, you know, anything you want inside the bumper without trying to wrap something around the outside of a bumper.
yeah, yeah,
And that was cool. And then the fact that when the dog has it, the center of it has got like a four-way slot that's all integral to the hollow cavity. And literally, I suppose maybe on a hot day or something, I can't say I ever had a dog overheat from bumpers, but how do I know on the hot days that's not why they were dropping them, right?
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
And we found a research firm that's testing it if they can get more oxygen with those airways.
so,
And then
so actually, like putting it to a scientific test almost.
yeah, like
Yeah,
they build a dog's mouth and then they measure how much oxygen goes in and out. But the the feather part, I'd always just wrap them with electrical tape. I've heard of people doing zip ties, but I can't see that being great for the dog's mouth.
right.
Um,
Especially that little knot on the zip tie, and
yeah, so when I came up with that idea, I was just thinking this is a cool new way to do it, and I didn't think you're not going to have to replace them as much. Like it's going to preserve the wings better,
right.
and it's so easy to do. Like with puppies, they just go right for it. Like it's
Yeah.
just it brings out that natural drive. And the way I think about it is like if you can bring out more, uh, if you can bring the dogs not only like sight, but you can use their smell and any more senses, it just kind of helps bring that natural ability out.
Right. It's almost like, for again, we're talking so many variable dogs out there, but that dog that you've probably heard people say it, Addison, like, oh, my dog doesn't like bumpers. Well, it might be your dog doesn't like to retrieve, but they'll, for some reason, they'd rather fetch a stick, right?
Hmm.
If its first exposure is something that's got a little bit of something smell to it, that those smells are pre-wired into the dog's brain. We don't make our dogs like feathers, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, somebody did that 500 years ago or
Right.
a million years ago. And yeah, I was just like, son of a gun, he did it. He did it.
It was so cool. Like, a lot of puppies will try to bring the bumper back by the rope.
Right.
So you can remove the rope. Luke,
Yeah.
our guy in marketing, is awesome. He's got a great new black lab, like little bitty puppy. Took the rope off, put feathers in there, threw it. This dog's first retrieve, picked it up in the middle, and brought it right back.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if he knew sit by then. Like he was
Right.
8 to 10 weeks old, 12 weeks old maybe. But yeah, and we've got a new puppy in here that um, she is a little bitty thing, and the bumper's half of her size, and she's bringing it back in the middle.
Yeah.
Uh,
So it's not a weight problem whatsoever, but it's still heavy enough to whip, if you
Yeah.
want to whip it. And you're right. I've seen so many dogs for whatever reason, grab the string or the little on the old standard bumper that there's a million of around that. I don't know how many people make them, but they have that rubber little tip on the end where your rope goes through. They always want that.
They go for that first. So,
And then they drag it and then they trip on it, right?
once they rip that top part, you can never connect another rope, and it would fill up with water. So that's what I wanted. Is like if the dog takes a chunk out of this, it's still operable.
Right. Yeah. If the owner doesn't pay attention and the dog somehow gets the throwing rope, or wait, it's not a rope, but it's I guess it's almost a handle.
Right.
And that's on you, but the bumper will still float. Which
Yeah.
ever in a day, you see them things sink, and you're like, oh, he poked a hole in it with his tooth. Even
Yeah. Or just replace the rope and keep on going.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you did it again. You did it again.
I think it's been pretty good response. We sold out of the flashers, the black and white, and we've got the orange and all white.
Is that because the lab guys like the black and white so much? Like the or the I always thought the flashers were more popular with when you're thrown, it almost becomes a wing beat kind of white black kind of thing.
Yeah, or just like a kind of easy to use in all situations because you have that contrast. So like all white or all like orange is blind, but having that contrast of black and white, I think will show up in more situations. So yeah.
So new dog, not new dog, Chevy, the one with the 14 letters, Chevy Silverado Z1. How's the new dog doing? How old is he now? 2.5? I can't remember.
He is 2 in November, right around Thanksgiving. He's doing great. He just got a season pass. I think he's been this summer when I'm in town for more than 2 weeks, I'll get him. He's being trained an hour and a half north here. And like we're doing a video shoot next week for our new bulls coming out, which I've actually would love to talk more about, but I don't know if I should yet. But so no, he's kind of been in a hybrid where he comes home for a week or two, gets to be with the kids. I don't really train him much, like on the first few days, just getting him back to being with us. And then, if I'm going out of town or going to be tied up for a good amount of time, he goes back there. I think he's going to try to get his master's pass in the next couple weeks.
Oh, nice.
And so for being not even 2, I mean, he's got the looks, he's got the drive. Him and I don't think I know all of the kind of unspoken things for working him. Like I hunted with him last year, but I think what I'm trying to say is his handler could probably handle him better than I can right now. And that's just a matter of me learning it. But I just didn't have the time and want to do it right during his formative years. But we're going to have a good season. I think he picked up, I've got it written down in a book, I think either 700 or 1,000 birds last year.
Oh my God. And I didn't get to see it once, Addison. Oh, we're going to have to work on that because right now it's bar talk, I mean, if you can't show me 700 pictures, I don't know.
I mean, I've always been bad at math. It could be like 100.
Then you'd be like
I need to look it up now. I'm trying
Right,
to think. Actually, there's a lot of birds. I don't think it was that many.
yeah.
But it
But
was I remember, like, right towards the end of the season, I needed, like, 15 more to hit some big milestone, and I got it.
where were you
Um,
hunting mostly? Or are you
oh,
all over?
I actually hunted Kansas a lot this year,
Okay.
3 different times. We got some good we did some video shoots up there too and tested some products and, I mean, just lights out hunting, and then, I did not make it to Arkansas for the first time since I was, like, 14 this year.
Really?
Uh, I had 3 trips planned, and every time this happened with, like, most of my hunting season last year, but the day before or the day of, I was supposed to go out of town. Somebody was gravely ill, or there was some giant clutch. Somebody broke their arm or something with the kids, and I had to cancel a bunch. But I'm glad I took care of what I needed to take care of. I just hate that I missed a couple hunts.
You'll be my age and you won't regret it. You know what I mean? I think about that and like, yeah, still got to hunt plenty.
Yeah,
It's like having a first world problem saying I missed the hunt, but I didn't know that you had been, chasing down there since you were a young teenager.
yeah. Kind of the first time.
Is it a family thing got with you, Addison, down there?
Um, Not really. My dad didn't hunt too much, but he knew that I wanted to hunt, so he'd always take me to um, cousins and uncles' houses to hunt, and then for duck hunting, I was pretty tied up with like football and wrestling in high school, and middle school, and so any chance I got, we would go either to West Tennessee or Stuttgart or right around there.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's kind of where I cut my teeth in it.
I've never, I've been invited and same thing. I was like, I can't swing it. So I've never hunted like and when I think of Arkansas, and you can correct me and the listeners, it's not always flooded timber, but isn't that the big, that's what it's kind of known for, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess because, and that's not just Arkansas where you can do flooded timber, but primarily it was the rice capital of the world, which brought the
Okay.
ducks. So in the 70s and 80s, that's I couldn't imagine how many ducks there were, and I think the efficiencies of combines and harvesting, that's kind of slowed down where they just don't have as much of a free lunch. But it's still ingrained in their, all their patterns.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
generations on top of generations.
and it's like it's different. A flooded timber hunt is a lot different than any other duck hunt situation. So I think that's what draws, the feelings about it.
Yeah, because you're not relying on pass shooting for dark, right?
Yeah, they get through the trees like they're in. You
There,
know,
yeah, it'd have to be Houdini, or you'd have to be
a
you'd
really
have
bad.
a really bad shot.
We don't know any of those types around here.
No, no. What do you consider yourself a good shot or a great shot or just okay?
All right, so
Let's hear it.
I've always had some confidence in my shooting, um, and I hate sounding like, "Oh yeah, I'm a great shot," because I'm just like anybody that's gonna miss every once in a while and whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, but I was going through my pictures. Emily needed a picture of Gunner standing sideways, and I was going through these pictures today, and I found this picture of this dragonfly. We were on a hunt in Texas, and I made like a really far shot on a dove. It was an afternoon, and I was just like full of confidence because I think I had a couple other good shots or something, but I was like, I'm gonna blast this, and shot and just folded, and everyone's like, damn. Then this big dragonfly comes through, and I hear all this shooting, and it comes towards me, and I'm like, what are y'all trying to? There's no birds. What are y'all shooting? And they're like, that dragonfly, and I turn around and shoot, and it drops, and I come back, and I've got this picture, and I'm holding this dragonfly, and it's only missing its head.
Oh my God.
My buddy came up. He's like, they're calling me Addison Oakley. They're like, he shot just the head off, and it was already a far shot. But no, I'm not a good shot. I mean,
Well, put it this way: then nobody doesn't invite you because they're going to get frustrated at you missing every other bird, at least, right? No, you hit more than you miss.
I can hold my own, but Gunner, when I was hunting with my best friend in Mississippi, like he is a better shot than me, Travis. And when I would hunt with him and him only, Gunner would heel on him because he knew more birds were going to drop if he stood with him than me.
So he changes allegiance to your buddy.
Yeah. And he wouldn't really know exactly how to handle him. So it was I always just laughing my ass off. Like, Gunner, go back, go get it. And but no, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a good shot. I can have my moments.
Yeah. Well, I mean, duck hunting is one of those things. I've done like a good amount of it, but I'm an upland hunter 90%, right? But the 10%, I usually go to some good. I've been to Kansas, and I was on the Mississippi River last year on the way to South Dakota, and the biggest problem I always have is I have too much time to think when it's duck hunting.
Yeah,
I mean, if they're coming in, right? I mean, not
easy shot.
Yeah. And I will ass it up more times than not, right?
Yeah. I mean, if I have an easy shot that's coming in, good luck. But if there's a group of teal coming through and I can just zip one or two off.
Exactly.
When you're acting by instinct and not thinking about it, that's when I'm the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A friend of mine wanted me to go out in a layout boat. Problem is, even with life preservers, I firmly believe I'll drown. But I have shot divers out on the Eastern Shore from a platform, like a little platform blind.
Mm-hmm.
And they come scooting across there. And I'm not saying I don't have any problem, but I'll spank that, boom, boom, right?
Yeah.
And somebody go, okay, here comes one. Here comes some lone idiot duck that's looking for a decoy spread. I go, Ronnie, it's your shot. Yeah, let's not. We're not eating that, probably.
Sometimes when it gets down to like you need a couple more and you're with a group and you say, all right, Addison, you're the only one that's going to shoot. Don't put me on the spot.
Yeah.
It's like golf. That's why I don't play golf. I don't like the thought of some 5 people behind me judging me on how I'm about to really screw this up.
Besides, it's a waste of 3 hours of your life. Other than
you don't come home with any fish or duck meat.
You don't need ridicule.
If I have 3 hours, my ass is not playing golf because I can't bring anything home.
So where all did you say you hit Kansas a lot? Did you? Where else did you go last year? Or do you have places that you hit all the time?
Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi. But like I said, last year was a
little disjointed at times.
Yeah. This year, I think we've got some good hunts lined up, and trying to be more realistic with my calendar. And it should be a good season. I don't want to look too far forward, but when Chevy's 4, even 5 and 6, like that's when it's so much fun. You're out of that training mode where you're always worried about the dog messing up and stuff. And
you got the dog that's been in the end zone already a bunch of times.
Right.
Yeah. You're gonna forgive me for this. He's from Gunner, right? He's out of your first dog.
No,
put his name in it. I couldn't remember.
He's from Southern Oak. Barton's main dog, Red, is his father. So I've hunted with both of the male and female multiple times, and was always very impressed. So he's a red yellow lab. I looked for forever trying to get a chocolate and couldn't find one that I just loved. Found a couple, and I'd reach out to the kennels, and I couldn't get anybody to call me back. So, and then in a pinch, we had a dog get run over like on Christmas Eve, and so I called up Barton and was like, I need a dog, and after duck season, and so that's when I got him. Was right after duck season, close to 2 years ago.
Does Barton now? He's not training this dog right now, right? You said this guy's getting trained just north of you.
Yeah, from Southern Oak, Fox Ridge, which is Miles Durham up in Kentucky. So Barton has those satellite,
Oh yeah.
So all over. So he's the closest one, and Miles and I become good buddies, and he's a good trainer. So
it's under Barton's umbrella, basically.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to be a softball question. I just met a slew of lab people. Purina had me come down to their VIP 2-day event.
Yeah.
So I've got there's going to be more lab content coming up in the Hunting Dog podcast than ever.
Yeah.
And so I like every time I talk to somebody, and I'm going to be interviewing one of them end of this week, we always talk about the trial dogs or the testing dogs. And does Barton do is his concentration hunting or hunt testing or both? Like I don't know enough about him. I think I interviewed him 8 years ago, but I don't remember.
I'd say more hunt. And I could be wrong. I don't really keep up with like too much. I know, they have their dogs are titled and all that, but he wants his dogs to go to a family that's going to take them hunting.
Right.
Doesn't want somebody to buy the lab and never take it hunting, just be a house dog. That's not what
Yeah.
those bloodlines are made for. And so I think there's even some like preliminary questions, like how many times do you hunt a year? How many times would you hunt with your dog?
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and so I've never known the hunt test world all that well. Gunner was a puppy or like one, and I took him to one, and I was like, man, I need a meat dog. I don't need all these rules. I need him to go get the damn duck, whether that's around the little finger of water or through it. I don't care. I want what's ever
Right.
going to take the least amount of energy. But I think it's so cool. Like I can't wait to get my kid. And, like I now that Chevy's doing it, like I'm getting more into it and been to a few of them, but I just don't know that world
Well, it's
all.
like going. It's like going to a game and your kid's doing something.
Yeah,
It's cool to see him do something like, oh, he's doing a structured. He is pretty smart, right?
yeah,
He could go in a spelling bee and not come in last, right?
yeah. And it
But
could be, it's a crapshoot too. Like they can be really good and then just a couple little mistakes at the hunt test because different environment or whatever. But
yeah,
uh,
yeah, it's
yeah,
not easy. It's like one of those pass fail type things, right? If the dog
right,
they're kind of like, okay, you can go home today. You're like,
right,
what? My kid's better than your kid.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I
Well,
think it was like Father's Day 2 years ago. He was a little too young, but he was trying to get a pass, and I was like, I'm going to take the whole family up to Kentucky, and we're going to watch this hunt test.
yeah,
I think he failed, which we knew from the start he was too young. We were just going to kind of see, but our transmission in our Suburban broke. Our air conditioning broke. It was like 110 degrees outside, and
oh,
I'm like in crisis mode, thinking I've got 4 kids and a dog in this Suburban. How am I going to get home safely without us dying?
so
It's like back on that Father's Day weekend, it's kind of a kick in the crotch. Like nothing really went right.
it was destined. It was destined for failure. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Oh shit. Hey, I should now. I don't. I was gonna say something, but no, that's too. It was a little too inside. Anyway, change something. Change something. Well, after I stop the record button, I'll ask you about it.
All right.
Um, so I don't want to say what's coming up next, but did you want to talk about anything that's coming down the road? Because we can certainly get back on again later, or when we go hunt together, But
Yeah.
you kind of you said a word in there that people might have had their ears pick up.
Yeah. The food and water bowls, I'm not really going to give too much detail on, other
Right.
than I'm super pumped about them. They're made in Nashville, Tennessee, which to me, that's a big deal. And
Yeah.
they've genuinely got some features about them that make it the best water and food bowl out there for a dog. We're releasing that in September.
Okay.
So after we launch that, let's get on the
Yeah.
phone again. But we were doing the Flyway series, which we'll talk about in a minute. I just know that it's next third, so it's like the 16th or 17th is when we're announcing it's the Atlantic Flyway, and it's the area is that Emily picked is the Susquehanna Flats up there in the Northeast.
Mhm.
It's got some pretty cool history about it. There's a lot of like hand carvers for decoys. Um, it's going to be like a chocolate brown. And this year, so we're doing the kennels and the food crates, and then any other limited edition we do after that, we'll be able to do the bowls as well. But book launch is August 17th, and I think you can text the word Flyway to 82241 to get 24-hour early access, which we double our order every year, and last year we sold out in less than 24 hours of the intermediate. So
Really?
that might be good to do if anybody's interested in a custom chocolate color.
So what's the production run on that, Addison? Obviously, you got to keep it to a production run, right?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what the numbers are this year. I just know like every year we're getting a lot better at forecasting. We're pretty dialed in with what we think we're going to do. But when it comes to those limited editions, they sell out faster with a bigger quantity every year.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool.
And and this is another softball question, but I've always said, I know you don't have time to listen to In fact, most of my sponsors don't even listen to my podcast, and I'm okay with that because sometimes I might make a faux pas. But I've always said that you got to if you buy the Gunner Kennel for your first dog or second dog, you're gonna have to put it in your will because there's nothing to wear out on the thing, right?
Yeah.
But since you started this now, God, that was back. What year? 15 or 14?
Yeah. Well, I started in 14. We launched in 15.
Right. And that's when I called you up one morning and you shot me 2 of them up there by special delivery so we could put them on the Meat Eater show. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yep. Got him a little screen time. And I mean, I've still got one intermediate. My son-in-law has the other intermediate. But did you find anything out in this many years? Like, did you have to tweak anything on the kennel?
We've tweaked a lot.
I mean, I can't tell because you guys will send them to us for a donation for a banquet. Now, I don't see anything different.
Yeah.
What's changed, if anything?
We've made little things like the backup door latches would get pretty like stuck. So
on the bottom,
cover and track, yeah, for the top and bottom. The drain plug would also get pretty stuck. We've got a new drain plug now that's a lot easier to use. We've got windows on the back. We used to have a mold-on logo on the top, and that would wear off over time. So it's like actually embossed in the tool. We make like tweaks, even like with the wheels started breaking, something changed, and so we kind of upgraded that. But
the
yeah,
kennel itself, the tested kennel is nothing's really changed.
Yeah, no. So my gift to myself 2 years ago after this terrible Christmas when I was talking about dog got run over, we all got COVID,
Right.
my AC went out. It was like one thing after another. And I've been eyeballing this stationary pressure washer from Harbor Freight. So you mount it in your garage. So I've got this big badass pressure washer, and I've got no excuse to have anything that's dirty because you flick a switch and you've got this pressure washer.
Right.
I still if I've got a kennel or a cooler, I just put it on the side of our driveway. And after like there's 10 things stacked up, I get after it and pressure wash it all off. I use hot water. And so yesterday, Emily was like, hey, our 6-year-old's turning 7 tomorrow. And she's like, you got to get all this crap out of the driveway. So I start pressure washing the coolers. And I'm like, man, I've had this cooler since 2011. And I'm just pressure washing real good. I'm like, this thing will sit here, it doesn't blow away. It cleans easily, like still looks almost as good as new.
Yeah.
Then I have 3 kennels and a food crate that I've been meaning to pressure wash, and I'm pressure washing them off. And I'm like, this is the same feeling where this thing was dirty as shit. It gotten kind of used and abused, and I was able to just get the pressure washer and just make it brand new again. So it's still like those. If I wanted to, I'm not going to because they're from Gunner's last season, but you can still sell those. I mean, they're
right. Yeah. If you don't kick them off the road at high speed, they don't nick up. So that material, and I'm sure that's some version of proprietary, whatever you use, or maybe it was a known product that you said, let's use that because it's the toughest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I let things get dirty, and you're right. You power wash something, it's like, man, I don't need a new one.
No. And that's what pisses me off.
Yeah.
When I need to replace it because it's old, it pisses me off so much more than if I've got something that's old and I can just do a little bit of work and clean it and it's just as good as it was. Like that's what I'm trying to do. That's what makes me happy.
Yeah.
like my truck in the shop. Been in the shop for a month and a half now from getting hit in Kansas and on New Year's. It's like it's a 2015, but that thing's. I still get in it and think, oh, my new truck. This is badass. Like I just love it. I don't want a new truck.
Just need to power wash it once in a while.
That's right.
Yeah, I go to the detail shop for that. I can't tell you the last time I washed one of my own vehicles. I think it's because my dad used to make me wash the car like on Saturdays or Sundays, and he used to make me mow the grass. Now, granted, I grew up in Chicago. We didn't have a lot of lawn.
Mhm.
That's how much I hated pushing a lawnmower. So
Yeah.
I avoid those little maintenance items at all cost. And
Well, so one of the, I think the second year I ever went duck hunting in Arkansas, we were in Brinkley. We had a bad weekend, and we called this guy down the road that was a duck guide, and he took us. And two things from that hunt: he never wore gloves, and his hands were tough as shit. And I always said, I'm never wearing gloves. So now I've got like arthritis because I've never wear gloves, and I've tried to make my hands tougher every duck season. But uh, he told me he had like an old Tahoe. And he's like, I clean my truck once a year. After duck season, I take the seats out and I get it like detailed. And so I'm like, this little 14-year-old, like, me too. So I don't clean my truck until after hunting season. But now with 4 kids, I'm in this like forever season of my truck's always going to be dirty. So I haven't really washed my truck all that much recently because I keep thinking, oh, at the end of duck season, I'll clean it. And it just kind of rolls over.
oh, I remember the kids and vehicles. It's a recipe for whatever.
Yes.
I don't.
Found a damn gecko in my truck the other day trying to take the kids to school, and we figured out that it was from our friend's kids left it in a shoe from like a week before. And my little 5-year-old was opening the door and sees like this gecko sitting there looking at it inside the truck. There's no telling what's in there.
Oh shit. What? Oh, let me look at my note thing here. I think we got her. I think other than the one I wrote 3 lines. When are we going to hunt together? And I'm leaving it up to you because I'm retired and not from this world, but I have flexibility because I don't have a passel full of kids at home at this age. I got grandkids coming over bothering me twice a week, but they don't have any. You figure out a time because I want to see the new dog work, and I want to see who can pick on each other the worst when we miss an easy bird.
Let's do December or January.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it up to you though. I'll send you snarky texts, once every 2 weeks starting November. Then
I'm writing it on my to-do list right now. Schedule hunt with Ron.
how about trade shows and stuff? You guys hit a bunch this year?
We're kind of getting back into that. It slowed down when COVID started, and
Sure.
I kind of got burnt out on doing it. A lot of those was just me and Emily driving 10 hours and setting up on our own. And so we've done the GoPro Mountain Games out in Vail. We did the Ducks Unlimited National Convention. I think, we just did the Delta Waterfowl last weekend. And then I think we're doing Game Fair this weekend and next. And then World Goose up in Maryland. And I mean, we're doing a bunch of them. So it's kind of picking back up.
So people can see them and go kick the tires and go to the shows.
Yeah.
I know you guys always send me a couple of them and we give them away at Pheasant Fest. And this year, I don't know if you knew it, but I had Luke send me an extra food crate. And you know how the front cover can snap off, but it's still a sealed food crate?
Yeah.
Now, I took a 4-inch hole saw, took that little cover off, put a 4-inch hole saw, and we had cornhole for conservation using the Gunner food crate.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, it was fun. And it was, it raised a few $100s, but and I told people, if you want to just take a shot at it, we'll give you a koozie or, a hat.
Yeah.
And we actually got some guys coming back that were starting to get good at it, right? We're like a carnival. We wanted to bend the barrel on the BB gun because we were starting to lose too much product we were giving away. But it was so funny when they all think they can throw cornhole good, but who's ever thrown it at a food crate with a hole in the front of it, right? but that what gave me the idea. Your door is just the right angle
Yeah.
for playing that. So yeah, that was our cornhole conservation for cornhole, courtesy of Gunner Food Crate.
That's awesome.
I saved that one for the next Pheasant Fest because I don't want to cut another hole in one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun, and it always gets a lot of eyes on it, and people love. I mean, I don't know anybody. I've had a lot of things I bought that I've had buyer's remorse on, and I don't know anybody who's had that issue with a gun or kennel. It's just
Hopefully not. If they do, just call us up and we'll figure out a way to make it right.
yeah, because you mentioned earlier a lot of these suggestions come from your purchasers. They write back, "Hey, I want this." Like you had no intention of making a smaller food crate.
Right.
And everybody's like, "Hey," and you're like, "Okay."
And like the bumper, I want to do 5 new SKUs that are around the bumper in terms of accessories or other versions of it. But I need feedback from people that are buy them to say, "Hey, this one's great, but I want a larger one for training for goose hunting." Or
Yeah,
a lot of
or
different,
even a smaller one. Who knows?
yeah,
You
for
know,
puppies or whatever. And so that's what we're really looking for is feedback on how to make it better, so that I can get to working on that stuff. Because right now I can't just. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to be like, "Hey guys, I know this is on a product roadmap, but how about this idea?
yeah,
Keychains or something." And like, I can't just put my way into it. We got to make sure it's validated, and make sure that people want it.
right, right.
Speaking of keychains, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. We're gonna make little bumper keychains for your 4-wheeler keys or whatever.
Oh, like the ones, like the buoy ones for boats.
Yeah, that's not like an actual dog training product.
Right,
Just like
right.
something cool that I think, because there's just, I don't know, not a ton of options. I think it'd be a cool little keychain.
Well, you can send me a bunch of them. We'll bring them out at the Pheasant Fest next year, and I'm sure they'll go quick.
It's gonna be a big revenue driver. The bumper keychains.
And they're gonna go. We have got to get Addison off this 6-year.
Why didn't we think of this before? No, we do have a lot of cool stuff, like primarily in the hunting dog space, that for the next 24 to 48 months, we got a lot of really cool stuff coming out that,
So
the
this is, you have just like a conference room where you keep these
it's
up on
a product roadmap. Yeah, we have a roadmap of like, and we review it every couple months, about where we're currently at, if things are taking longer or if things have changed with the direction we want to go. But yeah, we try to keep a good beat on that so we know where we're going.
Yeah, yeah. No, like I said, the day I called you up in 2015, because I had interviewed I saw your ad in a magazine, didn't know who you were, and we exchanged emails. We did a podcast, and I remember waking up going, "Oh, what a dummy! I should have called Addison because we're going to do this show." And like, boom, I was like, when somebody who owns a company who's a sponsor and I have their cell phone number, it's dangerous, but it's a comfortable feel. It's like having, not everybody has their vet cell phone number, right? You know what I mean? Like you
Right.
probably do. I
Hey,
do.
it's 2 in the morning. Hate to bother you, but my dog's dying. Can you help?
Or he puked again. No, okay, all right, I'll give him some. All right, thanks.
Yeah.
That's what's nice about the company, and all the like Pike Gear and what, like I can call the people up. And there's been a few sponsors I've had along the years that it's a chain, you know what I mean? It's a chain of command to get to the person, right? Yeah. And it's like, I think that's why they keep you there.
Yep. Probably so.
Because they don't need you for accounting or invoicing or furniture. They just like, no, we need him here because he's good at a couple things.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hunting season, I'm gonna hold it up to you, December or January.
All right.
I'm gonna pound you hard for it. I'm gonna see what Chevy can do. I'm not bringing a dog. I'll just show up, and I'll bring the portable recording equipment, and we'll just bullshit in the blind, because it's the best part about duck hunting when there's no ducks.
We could do something early and do some spec hunting in the fields. That's like,
ooh, that'd be fun.
So much fun and so good to eat.
Oh my God, it's the best. It's the best. It's the best bird that floats on water.
Yeah.
It's out there. I equate that to, I mean, sandhill crane's not a duck, obviously, but the meat is just like remarkably, like I had no idea sandhill was going to taste that good. And the first spec I got, which was in Kansas, we cooked them up just like a steak.
Yeah.
It was like, holy crap, holy.
Both of those I'll do tacos with, and yeah, that's about as good as it gets.
I love it. What's so all right, whatever you come up with, give me some notice, and
Yeah.
I will be there. I will show up with gun in hand, recording in hand, and because picture those conversations that we have on those slow days when everybody just starts getting kind of giddy, like, or you pick on the guy, you're like, oh, so you've set up in this field before, huh? And there's no birds coming in. Those kind of conversations, I think people would love just more than anything else.
I just thought, yeah.
We might have to put it under iTunes under explicit, because sometimes it gets a little sideways, but there is always editing.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, that's the plan. Listen, I'm going to hit the stop record button, and I was going to ask you one more thing afterwards. And thanks for coming on. Thanks for everything you guys do at Gunner for all the dogs. And like I said, everything, obviously this is my being an attempt to be an infomercial, but everything you guys make, I mean, it's remarkable. I mean, whatever you guys come up with, I'm like, oh, solid, rock proof, bomb proof. But that's where you started with the kennel.
That's awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, Addison. Talk to you soon.
Okay.